Hi, I'm Matt Tarkenton, along here with Will Adams. Thanks for joining us today on GSB TV. Will, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's great stuff. And Matt, I know you were inspired over this past weekend, weren't you?
Well, we know that small business owners struggle, but every individual in today's society struggles with productivity and how to get more done. And I have, over the last month, been reading a book called Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less. And tell me if this describes you. Have you ever felt yourself stretched too thin? Do you feel overworked and underutilized? I know for most small business owners and most entrepreneurs, that is a very common characteristic. So Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less. It talks about doing less better, cutting out extracurricular activities, commitments you've made, having fewer people in the meeting, having essential things that you work on getting done. So go check that book out. But over the weekend, I found an article that we're going to post called Productivity Hacks, and it profiles a guy named Chris Bailey. And basically, this is Essentialism Cliff Notes, the short story of Essentialism, how you can eliminate distractions, focus on less, get more done. And Will, I know this is a problem we all face personally and in our businesses.
Yeah, and reading over the article, you brought it in, and I took a look, and one thing that just jumped right off the page to me was, the author says, we fall into the trap of letting our email inbox become our to-do list, instead of taking a step back and thinking about what is actually the most important thing on a day-to-day basis. And it is so very true that we all get caught up in that trap of hearing the inbox, new mail just dropped in, or your phone pings and somebody just hits you with a text message. All of a sudden that becomes the hottest, most pressing item in your day, and before you know it, your entire day has been hijacked for things that most likely were not the most important thing for that day.
Yeah, and this has probably existed 20, 30, 40 years ago, but I just think it's been amplified recently because of the internet and cell phones and text. And so what we're going to try and do today is focus on 3 things that you can take away from this session to be more productive in your own life and in your own business. First thing is just recognize the fact of trying to be more mindful. Now let me give you a quick statistic. At any given time, we're only 53% focused on the activity in front of us. Well, what does that mean? That means 47% of us is somewhere else. And the easiest way to manifest that is you're talking on the phone. My guess is while you're on the phone, you're also surfing the internet, responding to an email, text message. We're all distracted. And you're in a meeting, you've got your phone in the meeting, you're distracted from what's going on, and somebody asks you your opinion and you don't always follow it. So the first thing that we want people to think about is just recognize the fact that you need to be more mindful. Focus on the task at hand, whatever it is.
Yep. Yeah, and one of the things, it talks about, if you think about productivity and who are those folks that are the most productive in your workplace, it's those who attack the day deliberately. And they're very focused on a day in, day out basis, approaching all their tasks with deliberate intention, working on the right things, not letting the inbox, not letting the social media stuff come in and distract and hijack the day. We talk about distractions, and Matt, I know lots of times I'll observe you and what you do throughout the day to say, you know what, I've got to cut those distractions and I have to focus on the thing that I'm going to create the most value for. You want to talk a little bit about some of the practice that you do day in, day out?
Well, there are little things I mentioned earlier, like you can turn your phone off, or when you're in a meeting, put it on vibrate. Even sometimes people suggest just putting it on airplane mode so that you're not even getting the pings or the vibrations, even if you have your phone silenced. When you're on a phone call, a conference call, try to turn the computer off. When you're going to check your email, only check it a few times a day. You mentioned at the outset that a lot of times we live our lives responding to email. Sometimes our kids say, what do you do at work all day? I answer email all day. That's a pretty depressing way to live your day. So the important thing is that you focus on the task at hand and you try to eliminate distractions. Be more mindful in everything you do. In the article, he talks about that any kind of focused work is really meditative.
Yep.
And you can read a lot about meditation and it's good for you and all this kind of thing. But if you are working on a project and you recognize that your meditative states are anytime you recognize getting off task, that you're wandering off here, and bring it back to the task at hand. So today our task is to bring you this content. If I get distracted, I'm not doing it as well. So always trying to bring your mind back to the present moment.
Yeah, and you talk a lot about how difficult that could be. You know, you talked about putting your cell phone on airplane mode. That means that whoever just texted you a question, that's not going to come through until you turn it back on. And, you know, that can present its own set of challenges. So many times in culture and the world that we live in, multitasking, busyness is rewarded. It's, man, look at that person. They're doing 20 things at the same time. Look at all the stuff they're juggling. Look at all the roles that they play. And lots of times that's rewarded. But, you know, there's a line in here that I thought was great. He said, busyness is no different from laziness when it doesn't lead us to accomplish anything. And that is so true. But talk a little bit about some of the challenges you might face if you try shedding some of these distractions and focusing on what you can deliver the most value on.
Well, as Will said, our society rewards us more often for multitasking than focusing on one thing. So I use the example today. I came back at lunch. I had a sandwich. I went in the break room and I ate the sandwich. I didn't take anything to read. I didn't take my cell phone. I just focused on that activity. People would almost walk in, what are you doing? You're not doing this, you're not doing that. If you're close the door and focus on a particular activity, people might think, well, God, why isn't he more open or talking? Our society rewards multitasking, and yet the most successful people are focused, and it's not how much you produce, it's how much you accomplish. And a lot of times people are doing work that's just busyness, and again, essentialism is all around doing less better and being more focused. So society is going to resist this.
That's right.
You need to be doing more. Here's one more thing to do. Here's one more task I'm going to ask you to do. This book talks a lot about saying no. I can't do that. I don't have time to do that. I need to get to that tomorrow. Because each day you come into the day with 12 or 13 different things, but what if you had to only focus on 3? And that gets to our third and final point, was how can you take this and make it actionable in your life? And we're going to introduce you to the rule of 3. Will, you want to talk about it?
That's right. And if you think about it, it's, you know, we've been ingrained and initiated since we were little babies to think in terms of 3. 3 strikes, you're out. In the Olympics, there's gold, silver, and bronze, 3 medals. There's stories like 3 bears, 3 blind mice, 3 little pigs, 3 musketeers. You know, even the way that we write stories, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. So we're almost trained naturally to think in terms of 3. When you step back and you look at your work every day, there are typically about 3 things day in and day out that you and only you can bring to your workplace. The things that without you they wouldn't get done, or the things that you provide the most value for. So you know, there's a good little exercise, Matt. You want to take them through kind of a good way to, you know, once you end this session here, something that you can go and do and put into practice today?
Well, really it revolves around every day when you start your day. Think about the 3 most important things that you want to accomplish in that day. And everything else kind of falls down. So at the end of the day, or a week or a month, what are the most important things you want to do, and make those a priority, and those things that you are uniquely qualified to do, and other things that supporting work that you can delegate to others, involve others, but focus on your 3 most important things in any given time period, make a list of them, and go accomplish them.
That's right. And I think the word intentionality, be intentional about your day. And there's going to be people, again, it's all the stuff that we've already been talking about, the inbox, the phone going off. If you're not intentional, if you're not mindful, those things are going to get you quickly off track. So I think at the end of the day, it's what are those 3 things that you must accomplish at the end of the day? Yep.
And if you do this, I think you're going to find that even if you have 5 hours of focused work in a day, you can get as much as someone who's working 8, 9, 10, 11 hours because you're more focused. So we're going to post this article. We would encourage you to be more mindful, recognize that society is going to resist it. They're going to want you to multitask, and busyness is cool, but accomplishing things is really what it's about. So focus on the rule of 3, and we hope that makes you more productive in your life and in your business. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on GSB TV.